America is in the middle of a zombie invasion, albeit one closer to the British invasion of the 60s than, say, the ones of my now near constant nightmares, having done 4 episodes detailing the entire history of zombies. You have zombie shows, zombie movies, zombie walks, zombie runs, zombie literature, zomcoms, zombie-mentaries, undead rock musicals, zombie opera, a side-glance-inducing sexually deviant Archie comic zombie spin-off, zombie wrestling, zombie wikis, zombie fan clubs, zombie linen sets, zombie weddings. The world has gone zombie crazy. Seriously, guys, it's too much. The CDC, like the real Center for Disease Control and Prevention, published guidelines on how to survive a zombie apocalypse.
You want to go back to sleeping with one eye open?
Zombies are literally everywhere. Here's a question: why? And how did one of the bleakest shows in recent memory come to absolutely dominate television? As always, many spoilers ahead. In Zombies Part 4, The Walking Dead is so damn depressing, but it sure is popular for some reason.
Oh, no. No. Oh, no.
The Walking Dead is the reigning king of the zombie cultural revolution, and really all of television. Night of the Living Dead rose to prominence in part due to the turbulence of the 1960s. So how does the current political climate compare? Well, here are some of the top stories of 2014. Ebola, world goes on red alert. Ebola here. Russia invades Ukraine. A whole plane just disappears. ISIS begins its offensive in Iraq. The United States resumes, who knows what to call it now, its airstrikes in northern Iraq. The US launches airstrikes in Syria. The Gaza Strip continues to be the Gaza Strip. 2014 trends as the hottest year in recorded history. Michael Brown, Ferguson, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice. Holy shit, guys, things are bad. Here's Toby from The Office on global warming.
A person has already been born who will die due to catastrophic failure of the planet. The last time there was this much CO2 in the air, the oceans were 80 feet higher than they are now.
You sound like you're saying it's hopeless.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's just a clip from the newsroom, but it kind of hits the nail on the head. It's definitely the only nail that show ever hit on the head, but still. I don't know what's crazier, the fact that the newsroom ever even existed or that it's not getting a 4th season. God, I hate you, Aaron Sorkin, you beautiful lunatic.
I mean, what the fuck?
Yes, world-ending entertainment thrives in an era of unrest, and yes, 2014 definitely qualifies as such, but something feels different about the popularity of The Walking Dead. It spends as much time wondering if modern life ever really meant anything to begin with as it does playing off the fears that it may come to a terrible end.
What else am I going to do?
The show spent an entire season just hanging out on a farm making cucumber salad and wondering what it all means. Seriously, season 2 made AMC's other darling, Mad Men, look like Crank by comparison. When it's not just kicking the dirt and talking first-year philosophy, The Walking Dead is complementing grotesque practical effects that are usually reserved for underground cinema with deeply dark, emotional acts of violence. It's a certain kind of disturbing to power wash rotting flesh off of bone with a fire hose. It's something else entirely to open your television series by shooting a little girl in the face. And that is far from the last little girl to get shot in the face. We waited half a season for this. And who could forget this cheery moment?
Just look at the flowers.
It is chest-caving, soul-shattering, Morrissey-level hopelessness. Even death offers no escape in this show. The first season ends with the revelation that every last person on Earth is a carrier of the zombie virus and is therefore condemned to an eternity of flesh-seeking no matter how they meet their end. Save for a blow to the head, obviously.
Sorry, brother.
The Walking Dead is an adventure in anime, obsessed with exploring the rules of moral governance when hope is the most impossible reaction to every waking second of life. It honestly seems to hate itself at times. Or maybe just the majority of its characters, or maybe just its fans. I don't know, man. This is how crazy the show gets. After finally coming to terms with the implications of bringing a child into the nightmarish hellscape that is post-apocalyptic Georgia, the much-hated Lori tragically dies during childbirth, and then is shot in the face by her teenage son. And then is eaten by a zombie. And then has her half-digested remains violently impaled while in the belly of said zombie by her estranged husband. And that was more or less fan service. The internet rejoiced at this. It is dark, man. In the same way that every episode of The Newsroom is hung on Aaron Sorkin's mission to civilize the internet.
Because I'm on a mission to civilize.
Every episode of The Walking Dead revolves around a moral conundrum that can only be solved with violence.
You don't have to do this. We can walk away. And we will never cross paths again. I promise you.
I already made you a promise.
Does the gang have the balls to do what needs to be done? Invariably, yes. Does it alter their humanity in some meaningful way? Not really. Life is violent and ugly. Morals are a contextual abstraction, and things just kind of carry on.
What the hell are you gonna do now, sport?
This kind of nihilism has become the philosophy du jour.
Look, I'd consider myself a realist, all right? But in philosophical terms, I'm what's called a pessimist.
Okay, what's that mean?
Means I'm bad at parties.
True Detective, which was the centerpiece of the 2014 reconnaissance, is mostly just two drunks weeping about Earth being the truck stop toilet seat of the universe.
I think human consciousness was a tragic misstep in evolution. We became too self-aware. Nature created an aspect of nature separate from itself. We are creatures that should not exist by natural law.
That sounds god-fucking awful, Russ.
Still, people embraced it. They even delighted in its exhausting cynicism. Etsy is a treasure chest of crafty True Detective fan art. Have no use for a Lone Star beer can man? How about a devil net? Perhaps a Carcosa keychain? They also come as earrings, but if jewelry is your thing, let me recommend the Marty Hart set. I personally am greeted every morning by this beautiful Reggie Ledoux painting over my bed, because every day is a sun-soaked miracle. The show was so popular that the title of one of the books that informed True Detective became a huge slogan on the back of Jay-Z's jacket in a promo for his tour with Beyonce. As you may have guessed from the title, In the Dust of This Planet is not exactly a light read. Radiolab did a great and sufficiently depressing podcast on this and nihilism in pop culture. There'll be a link in the description, definitely check it out.
Good news is, you're not dead yet.
But at the end of the day, a man's gotta eat.
In a perverse way, The Walking Dead is a survivor fantasy. In our mostly more shameful moments, we contextualize our accomplishments and our failures by our circumstance and cast ourselves as grizzled heroes of an unfair world.
I'm being a human being here. I'm talking to you. Perspective, Bob. You're above ground. At least you're better off than them.
The crazier the circumstance, the more remarkable our resilience. So we love to exaggerate just how bad things have gotten. In a huge stretch of the imagination, The Walking Dead is an escapist allegory for modern life. If put in Rick's shoes, we love to imagine that we share the same capacity for survival, the same ability to do whatever it takes to protect ourselves and our loved ones. The same is true for all of zombie fiction, even the lighter fare. Simon Pegg's titular character in Shaun of the Dead is the prototypical survivor fantasy anti-hero. He's an underachieving failure in his life, but when shit hits the fan, he rises to the occasion.
Take car, go to Mum's, kill Phil, sorry, grab Liz, go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over. How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yeah, boy!
He is every out-of-work millennial dweeb finally given the chance to shine when the playing field is leveled by a zombie apocalypse. Don't worry, millennial burnouts, your time is coming. Keep memorizing your copy of Max Brooks' Zombie Survival Guide.
What's the matter, David? I'm taking a shortcut before.
At this point, zombies are ubiquitous. They're as American as apple pie. As the end of an era of civilization appears on the horizon, we've turned it into this cartoon vision that we can embrace and enjoy. Something we can watch through slitted fingers in the dark. We dress up as ghouls and roam the streets in hordes, laughing at the absurdity of acting like we're already dead. We've made it entertainment, a ghost story that we can tuck into the back of the closet or hide underneath the bed. It's folklore. It's the ritualistic exorcism of our deepest fears, same as it ever was. Tracing the zombies' roots back to Haiti and West Africa is a relatively short journey. Compared to its peers, it's an extremely young monster, especially in its American iteration. Born of slavery, it's always at least represented some aspect of its origins, whether that be the literal chains of bondage or a broader cultural repression. It's at once seemingly the least dangerous bumbling foe, and at the same time the only modern monster with apocalyptic potential.
I
don't know.
Tonight, I'm gonna have myself.
Who the hell put this on? Some random.
For fuck's sake!
It is mortality. It is inevitability. And yet it's a vulgar response to both of those fears. It's a resolve to avoid the unavoidable as long as possible, to laugh in its face before smashing it in with a cricket bat. The zombie gives us an opportunity to violently obliterate the visage of death itself, and that's what makes it so terrifying and liberating. We all end up as rotters, we just put it off as long as we can.
'Cause I'm having a good time. The shooting star looking to the sky like a tiger defying the laws of gravity.
Let us know what you thought of our 4-part series of zombies in the comments. Everything you liked, everything you thought we missed, everything you thought we got wrong. And subscribe for more episodes of It's Alive. See what monster we tackle next. This week's recommendation is The Returned. It's a French television show that aired on Sundance TV in America. It's about a small town where the dead return years later exactly as they were when they died, and with no knowledge of having been dead at all. It's a little outside of what we usually talk about in the sense that they're not just craving flesh, they sort of return home to their loved ones who have moved on and mourned them, completely shattering their existence again. It's a little closer aesthetically and spiritually to the brooding existentialism of something like True Detective than, say, the eye-popping fun of Redneck Zombies, but I think that's what makes it a perfect recommendation for this last episode. It's pretty emotionally rattling, but not without its scares. Check it out, it's awesome. Come back and see what monster we do next.